We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We're a news generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Thursday, March 27th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and great to have you with us on News Generation. Joining us today is Kwon Juyeon.
Good morning, Yujin.
Good morning, Juyeon. And Julian Kim.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So we're going to begin with our keyword news for this Thursday. Our keyword today is wildfires again, as they've been wreaking havoc across South Korea for nearly a week now. Firefighters are still struggling to contain fires burning across Gyeongsangbuk-do and Gyeongsangnam-do provinces and Ulsan City, as you can see on the screen. According to preliminary estimates from the Ministry of the Interior and Safety, as of Thursday morning, 26 people have died and 29 others have been injured. The highest number of fatalities, 8 in total, was reported in Gyeongsangbuk-do province's Yeongdeokgung County. And authorities are cautiously optimistic, though, as rain is in the forecast today, which could help bring the fires under control. So, Juyeon, local media and experts are now calling this wildfire outbreak a record one. So could you please tell us why that is?
Yes. Well, due to high temperatures, dry conditions, and strong winds, even a small mistake can quickly escalate into a large-scale wildfire. Right now, this has already led to tragic consequences, making it the 6th deadliest wildfire since records began in 1987. Many of the victims were elderly or unable to evacuate in time, and some died while trying to flee or during firefighting efforts. In areas like Sancheong and Uiseong, the fires continue to threaten communities, especially those in regions, remote areas and mountainous regions as well. And, but with continued rescue efforts and nationwide support, we can still prevent further loss and help affected communities recover. I truly hope everything recovers as soon as possible, quickly, and no more lives or homes are lost.
Right, definitely. And we just saw the announcement from the Korea Forest Service that the affected areas caused by the wildfires this time has turned out to be record-breaking here in Korean history, which is raising further concerns. Now, Julie, I want to talk about situation in other countries as well, because you're from California and we all know that Los Angeles was struck by devastating wildfires just a couple of months ago. So I want to ask you, what's going through your mind as you witness this situation here in Korea?
Yeah, so it's been extremely heartbreaking to see another wildfire of this magnitude in Korea. And my heart really truly goes out to those impacted by these fires here in South Korea. And growing up in California, I am unfortunately a little too familiar with wildfires and how incredibly it could be both shocking and traumatic. And even during my 4 years as a college student, I actually had to evacuate twice. And I remember feeling like a huge amount of panic, just frantically packing my car and trying to escape the flames and the fire, and especially the toxic air too. And so I really hope that the government takes lessons from the past wildfires into quickly mobilizing to rescue people, as well as providing care for people after that are affected by the fires.
Because this experience, nobody wants to go through this. It's so tragic.
Yes.
Right. All right, and that was our keyword news for this Thursday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. While our Thursdays are usually reserved for exploring the Korean wave and its global appeal, today we're circling back to a recurring issue on NewsGen, which is South Korea's low birth rate and what's being done to really turn things around. So take a look at the screen to find out more. Last year, we covered a Korean company offering a jaw-dropping incentive of 100 million Korean won, or roughly $68,000 per child for employees who become parents. That bold move made headlines, and now it seems that local governments are following suit. So one local government in Korea that has announced they will provide a similar baby bonus for residents is Incheon, about an hour's drive from Seoul. So last year, this city actually saw a noticeable uptick in births. So Juyeon, starting off, could you first walk us through the city's latest birth rate figures?
Okay, well, I'll give you some specific numbers here. Last year, Incheon recorded 15,242 births, an 11.6% increase from the previous year, far exceeding the national average of 3.6%. And this ranks first among all 17 regions. So indeed, a clear result, especially at a time when most regions are still struggling with declining birth rates.
Right. So first of all, very good news for Incheon, and the city government is actually linking the rise in birth rates to this specific baby bonus policy. So back to you, Juyeon, I want to ask you, what is Incheon doing differently? What are some standout policies and initiatives?
Well, they have actually implemented a very special policy for the residents residents. The city believes this growth to its ambitious low birth rate policy. This is known as the 1억 아이 드림, or 100 million I dream, which provides families with up to 100 million won, that is about $75,000 per child, from birth through to their adulthood. This includes benefits such as the current parental allowances, child support, and a first meeting voucher, and free education through secondary school. And this amounts to 72 million won, with Incheon providing an additional 28 million won on top. So indeed, this is a success story in Korea's ongoing population crisis.
So we first now talked about the 100 million Korean won baby bonus, but Julian, I heard that this is not the only policy regarding birth rate that the city has rolled out, right?
Yeah, so Incheon's 1,001 housing policy, which helps newlyweds secure affordable housing, is also believed to have contributed to this noticeable uptick in the birth rate. This initiative rents housing to newlywed couples and families at just 1,000 Korean won per day, which is approximately 30,000 Korean won per month for up to 6 years. Now, this is approximately 20 USD, which is, in my head, shocking that rents could be that low. But the city is prioritizing households with newborns who are first to receive the support. And based on the trends that I mentioned, Incheon has included that substantial, practical, and direct economic support is crucial to addressing the low birth rate in the country.
And these policies could turn out really attractive, especially for young couples, when at a time when housing prices are getting higher, and also while taking care of a child is also getting more expensive. So once again, we're now seeing both the private and public sector stepping in, offering financial perks to encourage couples to start a family. So I want to ask you, do you think this cash for kids strategy will actually work?
To an extent, yes, because economic concerns are the biggest reason people hesitate to have children. In a 2024 survey of 1,100 young Koreans ages from 19 to 34 years old, the top reason for not having children was the financial burden of child rearing and education costs, cited by 30% respondents, and another 11% cited housing instability. So considering that over 40% of the responses cited economic factors as the reason for not having children, it is evident that financial concerns are a significant factor for those in our generation who are deciding whether to have children or not.
So these financial incentive policies, they are trying to alleviate the burden of the biggest burden that young people say that blocks them from having a child or starting a family. So it could give them a boost in terms of low birth rate.
Yes.
But what could be some other opinions, Chia?
Well, personally, I don't really think that the cash alone is enough to support the idea of, make people want to start a family, deliver a baby. Not all members of the MZ generation are likely to respond positively. That's because financial support that Julia mentioned alone doesn't fully address the reasons behind Korea's low birth rate right now. Many young people today prioritize a flexible and fulfilling lifestyle, and concerns about having to stop their job, their careers not on their list after having their childbirth. Having a childbirth, they would like to continue their work. So in short, while economic support plays a significant part indeed, a more comprehensive and thoughtful approach is quite important at this very moment. So financial help is part of the solution, that is right, but not the whole story.
Right, so once again, financial support is very important. It's really helpful, but it's not all. Then I want to ask you the same question to you guys, starting with Eugene. I think you can give us a very clear snapshot of this because you are a child of two lovely boys, as our viewers will know. So I want to ask you, if someone offered you 100 million won if you had another child, would that convince you?
That's a very quick question. I'm going to stick for like 5 minutes, but I think yes or no. Yes or no for that question. As a mother of two, I believe that having a child isn't something that can be decided just by money alone. It's a deeply personal choice that involves many thoughts. You've got to have some careful conversations with your partner and a shared decision between both parents. While financial support like a 100 million won grant may help ease the burden for the family, it isn't what truly shapes or, drives my decision to become a parent. Raising a child is about love, responsibility, and the willingness to embrace a life long journey. It's not a couple of days of, a journey. It's a lifelong journey.
Decades long.
Indeed. Well, in the end, it's not about the size of the support that you receive from the government, but the heart and mindset that matter the most.
Right. So, because once again, there are so many things to consider when you decide to have a child or not.
Correct.
Then what about you, Julian? You're currently single, right? So I think you can offer us other opinions as well.
Great, yeah. So everything that Julian just mentioned, I completely agree. But to answer your question, I would say yes, because I don't think I could personally be like, no, I don't want any children if someone offered me Iraq, 100 million won. So yeah, so the reason why I'm saying that is because financial reasons are a huge reason why people are, I guess, like deterred from having children. So I think if I got like support and that kind of like help from the government, it would help me at least consider whether I would want to have children or not.
Right, because 100 million won is a large amount of money, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've heard from our panelists. It's time to hear what our viewers think. We ran a poll on our Arirang.news YouTube channel asking the question, if more financial support were available, would you have children? So if we look at the results, 75% of our respondents said yes, while 25% said no. So we're now going to take a look at 3 comments. Our first comment for this Thursday is by Kim Seri, C8U. Housing issues especially need to be addressed. Newlywed couples with low assets but high incomes often fall into a welfare blind spot. Brown Giraffe 101 says, yes, but I love the support to be sustainable. A one-time cash incentive might help in the short term, but raising a child is a long-term commitment that requires ongoing support. Our final comment for this Thursday is by Benny D97. Personally, yes, we have a good support system here in the Philippines that helps those wanting to have children. All right, so to hear another perspective, we'll soon be joined by a Spanish Gen Z living in Korea to talk about how his country is addressing the same issue. Stay with us.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang.news. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back, and joining us today is Fabio Gonzalez, a Spanish Gen Z living in Korea. Welcome to the show back again, Fabio.
Hi there, long time no see.
Long time no see. So, Fabio, we first want to ask you, is a declining birth rate also a concern in your country, Spain? And if so, what kinds of policies have been introduced to address it from the Spanish government?
Well, Spain's birth rate is among the lowest in the European Union, and there are some policies that are trying to help that by providing small financial aid so that people can actually build a family. However, I would say that there are also a lot of political measures that are trying to bring new problems like possible future sustainability for pension systems. But a lot of the time, these hide deeper anxieties that are sometimes tied with ethnic nationalism and other problems like maybe a fear of cultural change. And so I feel like for young people, policies that actually give financial support or that try to improve life-work balance seem to be preferred, while other policies that are focused on convincing people to have children and telling them about the problems of not doing so sometimes can become a burden, a pressure, or even promote specific ethnic ideals.
Fabio, earlier we talked about the Iraq I Dream or 100 million I Dream policy implemented by Incheon. And then what are your thoughts on handing out cash incentives to new parents? Do you believe financial reasons are the biggest roadblock barriers to starting a new family?
Well, I do agree with what you commented earlier. I do think that financial aid is necessary. I do think that money becomes a big problem, but it's not all of it. I think that we should focus on people who actually want to have children and address the problems that they are facing. And for example, in Spain, one of the biggest problems is housing accessibility, and that has been going on for the last years. And so, for example, monetary help of 100 euros a month is not going to be enough to actually battle that very poorly designed and regulated housing system. So it's not that young people are being selfish in their decision. And if anything, if they're deciding to not have kids, it's because they have a bigger sense of responsibility. They want to bring their families to a place where they're safe and they can be happy if they want to do so. And so we should provide solutions that are actually going to support those people in their goals.
Great. So, Fabio, aside from money, what other types of support do you think would make a real difference in encouraging people to have children?
Well, I would say work flexibility and also a shift in values and ideals might be some of the things that might motivate people if they feel safer. But I also feel like the shift should, the focus should change from being a plan for encouragement to a plan of problem solving. Because why should we convince people to have children if we're not providing solutions for the things that are actually making them hesitant? So if we actually want to solve this demographic problem, if it actually becomes a problem, it should be by providing solutions for people that want to do it. And maybe if they feel safe enough to build their family, maybe other people might also be inspired by that, by seeing actual real example. So maybe it's, instead of convincing people about possible future problems, let's show them good solutions and good examples of how raising a kid can be beneficial for your lifestyle.
Couldn't agree with you more. All right, Fabio, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So we're also going to broaden our conversation with our panelists. So beyond financial incentives, what kind of long-term changes or policy shifts do you think are needed to encourage more young people to consider starting a family?
I think I need an hour to talk about that question. Well, as a working mom, I do believe that beyond financial support, what truly matters is creating an atmosphere, creating an environment for the family where parents can raise children without sacrificing their careers, their jobs. In countries like Spain and Germany, for example, both parents are guaranteed extended parental leave. But in Korea, if we look at the case in Korea, many couples, married parents, still struggle to balance their work and childcare. That's why the example from Hwacheon County is so inspiring. It was so touching to hear that news. Well, their community center offers a free after-school program. It's not just a program, it's about programs and lots of programs that ease the burden on parents.
Right.
And as Dr. Woo Young, who is an expert in child development, she noticed that many people now these days see children not as future contributors, but as financial burdens, costing to raise and educate. They've got to spend a lot of money for them. So with stronger community support like this, we can build a strong society where having children feels possible. Again, after all, it takes a whole village to raise a child.
Right. So definitely coming up with more of these programs could help change the mindset and make people think that children are once again like the biggest gifts in their life.
Their future. They are the future.
They are the future indeed. What do you think, Julian?
So I really do think that recognizing diverse family structures will be extremely beneficial to address the low birth rates. Societal rules that say only married couples are the ones to raise children will make more people turn a blind eye towards people who want to raise children and not support other types of families too. So families can come in all different forms and even numbers, and I think it's important to support those who have or will plan on having children without having to face any scrutiny too. This will encourage more diverse forms of childbirth and help increase our low birth rates too. And I personally think this will be helpful as many millennials and Gen Zers are not as willing to get married compared to the previous generation. And for example, in Mexico, the proportion of children being born outside of marriage is increasing. So we should also be supportive of couples in common law relationships who have decided to have children too.
So embracing a more broader definition of a family.
Exactly.
All right, and that's all we have for this episode of News Generation, but we will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Kwon Ji-yeon.
Thank you for having me, Eugene.
Thank you, and Julian Kim.
Thank you for also having me today.
Thank you, and to our viewers, thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you tomorrow on Friday. We are
News Generation.